All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pursuit of Relentless podcast. Today is going to be a different style of show, solo episode today. And I'm going to be going over my top 10 book suggestions. Now, that is one of the topics that I really have wanted to talk about for a while, because when I first started in business, I was not a reader whatsoever. And I was reading like one book a week by the time I was done being a heavy equipment operator, because I was just like so focused on my personal development and my growth. And I'll tell you, it is the one thing that has helped me so much in my business and my life. And these are just a couple of the really great finds that I would suggest that you guys check out. I have so many more. I know for a fact that the book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways. You guys have heard me talk about that one before, by Susan Jeffers. That book changed my life. I actually gave it away, so I don't have it here, but it is one of my favorites. Another one that I gave away is called Discipline Equals Freedom by Jocko Willink. So those are two of the books that I would love for you guys to check out, but I haven't got them with me. So what I've done is I've picked my top 10 out of my bookcase, and I want to talk to you guys about them today. So let's get started. No particular order, but I've got personal development books, books on money, books on winning, and books on communication, etc. So we'll start with one of the classics that I've probably read 8 or 10 times already. It may look like a little bit different depending on which version you get. There's one that's red and white. This one is blue, but it is called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Okay, so why is this book so great? Because when you're going into business, you're going to be dealing with very difficult people sometimes. And if you just bite their head off all the time, that is not very helpful. So I'm going to read you one piece of the book, part 1. It says fundamental techniques in handling people. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive, right? So when you're thinking about little things like communicating with people, if you automatically go to anger, or you automatically go to this like frustrated state, then you're not going to be able to communicate very well, right? So this book here is, again, one of my absolute favorites. My mentor told me to read it, and I was absolutely blown away. It's a couple 100 pages of gold. That is definitely worth a read. So I hope that you guys get a ton of value out of that one. Next, Simple Wealth, Inevitable Wealth. The lighting is not the greatest today, but it is with Nick Murray. I'm not going to read too much out of this one because it is all about finance, and I'm a financial advisor, so I don't want to get into trouble with compliance. So I'll read you one little piece of it, which is about freedom. He says, wealth is freedom at the very least. Wealth frees you from financial worry about what will happen to you and perhaps to your children. No matter how much money you have, if you're still worried, you aren't wealthy. Freedom from financial fears is thus wealth's great negative accomplishment. So this book here is really great for people who are interested in learning more about investments. It's really hard to find. It was actually gifted to me from Greg Stranadka, but it's the fundamental principles of successful long-term investing. And honestly, every financial advisor needs to read this book. It's amazing. I did pull some information out of there and post it on my Facebook page about a year ago. And it's like the 8 reasons why people aren't successful when it comes to investing. So if you guys want more content on that, Alaina Nadig on Facebook, go check out my business page. You'll see it on there big time. All right. Next. Oh, Tim Grover. This guy blows my mind. He did an episode on Ed Milet's podcast, and I was like, I have to read his book. And it is called Relentless, From Good to Great to Unstoppable. And he talks about being a cooler, a closer, or a cleaner. And he talks about the coolers being people who are kind of just like existing, versus the closers are the people who are going out and actually doing things, and the cleaners are the ones going above and beyond. So he was Michael Jordan's trainer. I don't know. Yeah, he still is Michael Jordan's trainer, and he's just an absolutely incredible icon. I definitely suggest this book. I'm going to read you one piece of it. He says, "Do the work every day. You'll have to do something you don't want to do every day. Challenge yourself to be uncomfortable. Push past the apathies and laziness and fear. Otherwise, next day, you're going to have two things that you don't want to do, then three, then four, and five. And pretty soon, you can't even get back to the first thing. And then all you can do is beat yourself up for the mess you've created. And now you've got a mental barrier to go along with your physical barriers." So he is an absolute champion, this guy. I highly suggest this book. He talks about how like you can be successful getting into the zone, just really being able to dial in your focus. If that is something that you need, it is storybook versus like personal development book all in one. So I highly suggest that one as well. This one is not going to be for everybody. It's more of a spiritual book. It is by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Sorry, I said it wrong. You'll believe it when you see it, or you'll see it when you believe it. Sorry, that's the actual title. I'm reading it backwards. You'll see it when you believe it, the way to your personal transformation. He's written a bunch of great books. They're very old. This one I found at a Value Village in Edmonton, and I was super excited. So he says, obstacles are opportunities. He said, I bless my addiction for what it taught me about myself and my own ability to transcend the trap that I've created for myself. The waking dreamer knows while it is happening that there is a blessing disguised in every problem he confronts, and gets better and better at seeing that blessing in the moment. So this has been a very big transitional book for me. So listening to stuff like that is just pivotal in people's lives. When you're sitting there going, how do I analyze my addictions? How do I analyze these obstacles and see them as opportunities, and choose to see them as opportunities when I'm frustrated or when I'm down and I'm just feeling like I can't, get up. And he just says the waking dreamer knows while it's happening, right? So if you continue to dream and you continue to observe yourself and understand what your brain is doing, then you're going to see these things in a whole new level. He said, truly enlightened souls knew that they cannot die. They know that death is just a transition of form, and that the astral thought dimension experiences no such phenomenon as an ending or a beginning. So again, spiritual based book. I am not religious, but I do believe in a higher power. It is one of my favorite books, New York Times bestseller. I highly recommend it. Another one of the books that is just a staple in this household and in my business. I always talk about it. Sorry, I got something in my eye. That's always fun. It's probably my hair. All right. The 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class by Steve Siebold. It's the thought processes, habits, and philosophies of the greats. And he said, lesson 103, so these are like daily devotionals type thing, like a one-pager, just to get your thoughts going. So he said, champions are obsessed with productivity and results. Professional performers tend to work in a job or business they love. As a result, thoughts of how to be more successful and productive rarely leave their mind. The great ones have to force themselves into non-work activities just to give their mind a chance to rest and recover. Is it any wonder why the world class controls over 90% of the wealth in America? The only people pros are competing against are the other pros, about 5% of the workforce. The amateurs are no match for pros. How could they be? Right? So he's talking about being absolutely excellent in your day-to-day life, just challenging yourself to be better. Um, Very, very good book. 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. All right. This is another good one. This was referred to me by a lovely lady named Savannah Daw. It's called The Power of Full Engagement. Managing Energy, Not Time, is the Key to High Performance and Personal Renewal by Jim Lohr and Tony Schwartz. All right. So this book here is all about personal performance, but it's often talking about like retraining our minds. So this little excerpt that I'm going to read you is on page 150 in this book, and it's talking about the training system. It says, more often, self-deception is unconscious and provides short-term relief while prompting long-term costs. At the most basic level, we deceive ourselves in order to protect our self-esteem, our image of who we are or wish to be, to keep at bay the truths that we find most painful and unacceptable. Most notably, the places in our lives where our behavior conflicts with our deepest values. We use a range of strategies. Drugs and alcohol can temporarily blot out uncomfortable feelings and provide the illusion of well-being. In a similar way, does overeating, casual sex, and even seemingly benign addictions such as workaholism and service to others. Every form of addiction is bad, wrote Carl Jung, no matter whatever the narcotic, be alcohol or morphine or idealism. So this book here, again, very deep, very in-depth on how to improve your energy and face your demons, because we all got them. It's just a matter of how we react to situations that is going to help us. So I definitely suggest that book as well. Oh, this is a good one. The life-changing book gets even better. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. Every book I've ever read by John C. Maxwell has been absolutely incredible. He talks about the law of the lid, and that is leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. So when we limit ourselves and we put a lid on our success or our vision of what we're capable of, it is crazy how much we're limiting other people. If I sit here and go, I can only make $1 million a year, then that's all I'll ever be able to accomplish, right? But if I sit here and I go, my income is unlimited, money flows easily and with abundance is my affirmation. And when you think about it that way, it's very different in how you feel about money. It's different in how you spend money. It's different in how you look at your life, right? So if you put a lid on yourself, it is not good. So the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is a go-to for me. Anything John Maxwell so far. He's got one, and it's talking about like developing the leader within you, and that's another good book as well. But yeah, The Four Agreements. This is an absolute classic, thin little book. It's not meant to take you forever to get through, but I'll tell you, it's a very, very good one. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. We have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear they are real. We make assumptions about what other people are doing or thinking. We take it personally. Then we blame them and react by sending emotional poison with our words. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. When we make assumptions, we make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. Okay? Telling it like it is. The Four Agreements. It is by Don Miguel Ruiz. I'm not quite sure how to say his last name, but absolutely phenomenal book. Another classic you may have heard of, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I can tell you in my own personal life, I've probably listened to this audiobook 100 times because it was what I was listening to when I was driving haul truck. It is so good. It was about a rich dad and a poor dad and just the difference between one mindset and the other. So one is an entrepreneur, one is an employee, and they have very, very different mindsets. So one of the quotes from the book: the poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. And that saying is so powerful because I'll tell you, I'm a financial advisor. I look at people's money all the time. And I'll tell you that the people who have a poor mentality can't save money. They don't try, right? They just believe that they're doomed. And it's just sad. But when you meet people who are like, yeah, I'm just going to try. I'm going to try saving money. I'm going to try putting away 25 bucks a month or putting away 100 bucks a month and see how I do, then that is a person with a positive mentality. And most likely they're going to end up being wealthy one day because of the fact that they're willing to put in the work to save it. Okay. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of my favorites. Lastly, I'm going to show you the book and then I'm going to read out of the one that I did note. Okay. The Power of One More by Mr. Ed Milet. This is Ed in the photo behind me. I was blessed to get an opportunity to meet him. He is one of my business mentors. We're in business together as well. But when he read this book or wrote this book, it just blew my mind. The Ultimate Guide to Success and Happiness. All right. Last one. I'll read this to you. Seek inconvenient relationships. The fact is that relationships and friendships are built on convenience, are not quality relationships. The best relationships are not about being by our side only when it's convenient. It's about being there when it's not, when you're in trouble, when you need help. Those close to you will rally around you and be willing to sacrifice some part of their being, even if it's inconvenient for them. You might need money, a shoulder to cry on, maybe your car broke down, you need a ride to and from work for a week. It could be realizing something is simple and just being a good listener. Recognize the difference between someone who takes time to talk to you when they have free time versus someone who frees up their time to talk to you. See the difference? So, Ed Milet, that guy, he's my freaking hero. That book is one of my ultimate favorite books. He also wrote the book called Max Out Your Life, and that one was also really incredible. I would definitely suggest it, but this is literally one of the best books I've ever read in my entire life. I highly suggest getting it. It is also a bestseller. The proceeds from the book he was donating to one of the school shootings down in, I believe it was in Texas. And I just love that he's not in the business of trying to make money. He's in the business of trying to make an impact. So I love that he's able to put himself out there and go, hey, this is what I learned through my father being an alcoholic and what I've done in business and how I've developed myself in my life. And I don't know, there's just something about Eddie. I appreciate him dearly. So I hope that's helpful. I would love to hear your comments once you've read some of those books and just give me a shout out. Give me a shout pretty much. I know I've messed up my words a couple times. I am dyslexic, so I'm trying to read to you while I'm like actually recording here, and it's challenging, right? But I'm willing to put myself out there because of the books that I have read. I hope that was really valuable information for you. Just a couple little tidbits out of the books. Now there's so much more gold nuggets in those books, and I highly suggest that you get more access to them. But short and sweet for today, those are my top 10 books that I would suggest. And if you got value out of this, make sure that you share the show. You guys know how it goes. Be a world shaker. Go out and make a difference in your community. Be someone who's standing up for what's right. Be someone who's going out and taking charge of their life. Because like Andy Frisella says, personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. And guess what? Most people don't read books, but how can you learn a ton of these lessons without actually having to go through them yourself? Read about someone who messed it up, right? Read a lesson from someone who has gone out and changed their life forever. And I would highly suggest reading all 10 of those books, plus the ones that I threw in as bonuses. And if you guys want more of my favorites, there is also a list in my book, Pursuit of Relentless, a guidebook for your best life possible. You can get that at alainanadig.com and make sure that you share it with a friend as well. I hope, again, that you got lots of value today. And until next time, that's our show.